I just purchased a $15 crystallinum off Marketplace, and we are going to put this plant, like we do all plants, through the survivor treatment. It is very intense, and it is a test period for new plants to get rid of any contaminants and ensure that the plant is hardy enough to become a candidate for the survivor program. I've been 100% successful so far, and the expectation for this plant is that it will immediately cease production on this leaf, which will kill it, which is sad because it's very beautiful and I love that closure right there. And then this original leaf, which is probably its baby leaf, is going to be cannibalized. This leaf will be cannibalized, and that leaf will be cannibalized. That is the most extreme version of what has happened to a plant in the past. The protocol is to watch this leaf, and this leaf, which is the fourth, fifth, and sixth leaf. Sixth leaf, fifth leaf, fourth leaf. That is the newest leaf. And then these are the originals, and you can see them stuck up on the spadics. So they will slowly rise, which is first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Sorry. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then seventh. And production will stop on this plant. It happens every single time. The newest item will be halted, and they will cannibalize, working their way up. If I see yellowing around the edges or the tips of these leaves, then I will start to increase the humidity so that they can receive nutrients through their leaves. The whole goal is to establish big strong roots in the new mix that I'm about to show you, which is the Survivor Standard Mix. The first process is to sanitize everything, and then we will begin. So I gotta sit this somewhere. I'm currently in construction, so this looks like this, and this is my first video, so it is not set up appropriately. We'll have to do something about that for documentation purposes. Let's get this out. Yeah, just do that. That seems to work well. That's how we'll roll. Just a little dirt.
Daddy,
What?
look what Miss Hubbard gave for us.
Oh, you got.
I
Ooh,
got
Mom's gonna
Mario.
like that. Mom's gonna like that. She loves Mario. And you love Uno. It looks perfect. Very cool.
Mario too.
That would probably be good enough. I always overdo things, so. 80% water, 20% alcohol. Seems like high heavy. Probably won't kill pests and stuff like viruses. But I'm not super worried about viruses because I'm more worried about pests and then red rot. So we'll address all of those issues in the survivor intake period. Everything survived and wasn't meant to be in the program. This plant looks healthy and strong, so I'm pretty confident I will maintain my 100% survival rate during this intake. One loss will be 25%. Oh, it won't actually. I don't even know. I feel like the plants are so completely intact and thriving now after 2 weeks of torture. 2 weeks of hell to be the strongest plants produced. So the goal here is to remove the soil from the last plant owner and make a soil base that is ideal for Anthurium. Don't tell my wife I've used her utensils. Shook in, probably. I don't know. She'll probably just shake her head at me on this. Either way. Oh, the standard is 85% orchard bark. %, perlite. We'll bring it to 85, 90, 100, 15 and then 4% bag of moss, which is almost half of this application. And since it's so airy, about half. So we're at 104% with this. This is an extra 4%. We don't want any big clumps holding moisture. We just want it to float around in there. nutrients in our water, which I usually use. This is cheap, but they tend to like it. This they really love. This is the secret right here. That really they love this stuff. And the lady that sold it to me said that it won't burn. This is your 1%. Right here, this stuff. About a little handful. Just to put some food in the soil for them, make it nice and rich. And that's the whole mix. That's the Survivor blend in totality. By the end of it, it smells like horse poop. Nothing you can do about that. That rose food smells like straight horse manure. But plants love it. Check the water temperature. Turn the heat down. Put some cold in there. Pull out floating bark. Clean as you go. Pull the air out. It's already going to get moist over time anyways. The good news is this worker's bark actually has good bugs in it sometimes, depending on how moist it is. No spring tails, I don't think, but still good stuff. This is the sphagnum moss I use. Once again, cheap. You know, a lot of it. Got it on Amazon. I keep reusing it because I keep it sealed, so it always stays dry. Just take saran wrap, wrap it around it one time, and then after that, just reapply the saran wrap. Gotta save that money. We're bootstrapping here, boys and girls. For like $15, huge bag of bark. Good for wicking. Bark tends to stay pretty dry, but this will. I heard it. People say that it wicks and absorbs up, but it really doesn't. Kind of draws away from the orchid bark, and then the sphagnum moss collects it. The whole goal is to have the sphagnum moss just hold just enough moisture to entice the roots to grow the little tiny hairs that actually absorb the nutrients. So you get these big, beautiful roots, and they don't have many hairs, or you repotted it like I'm about to do, and you destroy all the hairs. Well, you're going to have to make new hairs, and most of that comes with the plant destroying the brand new growth and cannibalizing the lower leaves and its oldest leaves. And it's pretty smart. It'll cannibalize the smallest ones and then work its way up. So it usually doesn't kill itself in the process, which is always the goal. We want them to survive, and that's why if they cannibalize more than these three and that one, and start to work on other leaves, and we'll start to feed nutrients in through the leaf and provide a reprieve for the, we call these the doctors, and the roots are the patients. This is a survivor ICU. It is a test, but we know that it's going to go into ICU. So, I lost my clip. Do you know what my clip is? Can you see my clip? Ooh. Anyway. So, what we'll do is we're going to remove all this soil by force first, without, not force, by coaxing, and then we're going to soak that root, this mix, let's just call it that, this mix that they have, because it's more dirt. And these are supposed to grow on trees, man. They're supposed to grow on trees, not in soil. So we're going to remove that and be as gentle as possible while we do it. It is not going to be happy for the next 2 weeks. It's packed in there too. I'm wondering if this pot is too small. But it's also a self-watering pot. So these roots are probably very lazy. I don't see, or I do see a wick actually. These roots are probably very lazy. They don't have to go get their own water. We don't want that. We want plants that work hard to produce what they have, because they make better plants. See these fat, soggy roots This is not, see this? Look at this dirt. Look at this dirt. This is dirt. See these translucent, fat roots? They got some hair fibers on them. This is very sensitive to them too. Their roots are hecka sensitive. Most people like play with them and stuff like that. I do not try to do that. I try to respect the plant throughout the process. But this mud, this is not for this. It's not for anthurium. They are not mud dwellers. Beautiful roots, but we're gonna harden them off. Just like the big beautiful leaves that everybody loves hardens off to become the beautiful plants that they are. That's what we're gonna do with the roots. As you can tell, it's actually falling apart fairly easily. I'm not gonna do anything more than touch the dirt. I will do nothing more than touch the dirt because I want as many hair fibers to stay on the roots. Fruit hairs are what feed the plant. The big fat roots are highways, and the hairs are the on-ramp for the nutrients to get up the plant. So that's what we have to do. Be very gentle, and these are just big honking suckers, which are good, and I can see some hair fibers, which is awesome. And it's real nice that this is falling away so easily. Just a little shake here and there. Try not to disturb it. The rest is pretty clumped in. So what we do now with the clumped in part is we are just going to float this for a little bit. We're going to full on soak it and just kind of float it back and forth. We're going to let all of that soak in there. Turn that mud into mud, and you're just going to barely shake. Just ever so lightly. And all of that, not what it's meant to have on it, is going to go away. And as you see, we'll find things, look at this, probably, I don't know what the heck that is, just a net, literally a net in the soil. Plastic, does no good to be in there. We're going to float these down. We don't want to get the leaves too wet at all, honestly, but I just did. Got one of them wet. And we'll let that dry fully. We will not put that under direct sunlight, and we will not touch that leaf to dry it off because this one's a velvet and it will cause it to melt. As they say, a little bit of dirt on there will be washed away over time. Not a problem. Look at these big, fat, soggy roots. This plant's going to hate this treatment. Hate it. I hope it survives. It would be my first loss if it doesn't. We're not going to reuse this pot. I'll reuse it later, but I'll need to sterilize that before I ever reuse it. And I'll never use a wick in it. Man, beautiful roots if it was meant to have roots like that. Go back to this pot. Survivor started in this pot. And it'll be good enough for it. Usually you want about 1 inch around, but it's deep enough that this plant will probably thrive in this. It's kind of a 4 or 5 inch pot. It's not really 6, I don't think. I mean, I guess you could call it a 6, I doubt it. Let's see. Yeah, I guess you could call it 6. But now that that's there, I do not mind laying these down. Well, I do. Already came out of here. Might as well put it back in that. That's more of its environment than the soil. I just pulled it out of it. For real. So, check this up. Good mix. 105%. Baby. Beautiful. Put a layer down just so it's not starting at the bottom of the pot. And we're only going to bury it up to where that root right there is dry at the top, and then it starts to turn into a real root. We want to keep that up anyways. So what I like to do is actually turn the plant over a little. And we're going to try to put some of this into these roots, because eventually they will hold, and then this means that whenever I push it down, it will not really. Look at it already sticking there. That's what we want. Just a little bit there. And we're going to take this, and my goal is to support the root structure, support this root structure as best as possible and support the plant so it don't fall over. If there's too much in the bottom, start over. You don't need a lot. You have to make sure that you're supporting the plant because it will fall over, because now it's going to go into sacrificial leaf mode and become weak and droop, and it's going to fall out of your pot if you do this, which I do it every single time I bring a plant in. I don't want any bugs in my environment. I will put it in quarantine for 2 weeks, and then if it shows no sign of pest and produces a new leaf and is strong enough to enter into suitorship for my luxurian ex radicum. I call it radicum, I might be saying that wrong, but another very popular luxurian, and another different part is rad. So it's Lux X rad, whatever you say it differently, that's fine. Since I got a lot of perlite in that handle and I actually move it around, I want an even distribution of all the greatness soil. Plant, when it comes back from this treatment, will be a beast of all the other plants I have done this too, which is every single one. Never had one that I've had some rebound faster than others, but I've never had one that they don't honestly even shaking them. They can feel vibrations, just so you know. But we want to get that soil in between the roots. We don't want to just stuff everything pot, call it a day. I need more orchid work, so we went from 105% to a little bit more, and I'll probably get a little bit more sphagnum moss because that's just what it's going to need for a pot this size. Since they were so wet, the perlite wants to stick to it. But that's fine. That may even just wick away some water into the sphagnum moss and force it to grow fibers, long hairs, to reach out to that sphagnum moss that stole all the water from the pearl. I'm going to go the opposite direction. Use vermiculite. It will get nice and soggy. Four plants. Usually it does if I don't want. That's the old me. Let's see. Jesus for a body that can create in his image and take care of the planet that he built and created. That is good. And this is something amazing. This is one of the best mixes ever. Shake that down. I really didn't mind to shake it down because we're going to water it in like everybody else does with soil, except for we don't use soil. So it'll seem, it won't change much. It ain't like soil. It ain't gonna wash away as you pour water into it. It's a very sturdy mix, very sturdy plant. So it's very much like, and I tried to keep the sphagnum moss off the stem so that there's no rot chances. Some people would put a layer of moss on top. I guess it would bottom watering. I don't bottom water. I drench my plants once a week, and then I let them sit and dry out and get air on their roots because they can breathe oxygen through the air. So I allow them to do that, and I Probably just hit all that with this big bag, but that's all right. You know what happened. It's a secret, trade secret right there. If the bag hit it, if it didn't, then you're in. You're in the club. Wow, he knows how to put soil onto the plants. I think most people believe that they do, and they probably do to a point. So I'm gonna grab this sink with all this dirt. Oh, before I do that, I'm gonna grab you real quick, show you around. Alright. That's one. This is what the plant mix should look like for an aeroid. They grow on trees. That looks like a tree. That looks like mud. That is not what these beautiful plants grow in. Empty the water. We're gonna water it in. But see this pot over here. Cheap pot. Lots of cheap things. They work. So this one says for water cuttings, use approximately 2 drops to 1 cup fresh water. Add new drops every time you change the water for 4 to 5 days. Yeah, I only water once a week, so that's not going to happen. This is what I bought online. It had good results from customer reviews, so this is what I'm using. 1 to 2 drops per cup is probably like 4 cups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3 cups. 7, 8, 4 cups. I say 4.5. Because we're always doing a little extra. And we're going to rinse our sink. I bought this sink and I did not own plants. This sink is awesome for plants. What is falling? What the heck is that? Basically, everybody says room temperature. I say, like, legitly. You should feel like your finger. Maybe a little less, a little colder than your finger. Don't get the leaves wet. Turn down the water a little bit, but what we're going to do is when I water it in, I want to actually float all of the material up. Because that's going to ensure to me that I've covered every single inch with water. It floats pretty well. So as it comes up, push her down. It's fully soaked. You want that water to come to the edge of your pot. Oh, at least I did. You may not want it to do that, but I want that water to. I want to soak this thing so thoroughly that it has no choice but to be wet. Because when it dries, it will fall down the bottom. And it will be where it's always going to be. The top will have a little bit of looseness to it, that's fine. It's super full. See how high that orchid bark floats? That's fine. That just means that it's moving into the roots. Now we're going to pull the water out. Watch off some dirt come out good. More dirt not on the plant. It's already sad. It's like this was a lot, bro. That was a lot. And it ain't over. The plant is a little crooked. So let's go into these first. So a bit, just a little. Make sure you're anticipating the plant. Go ahead and lean it this way. Settling and shake in that direction. Opening the pod with your thumb. And moving it some over here to stabilize the site. Listen to your plant's needs, my friends. And do not get your soil touching the good greenness. We don't want rot, period. It didn't have root rot, it had water roots. It's not a water root plant. Not a mud root. Not any of that. That's what I said over there. Manage it go. Especially if you want your wife. Ooh, what was that? What did we find there? Oh, the book. I was like, that's it's working. The ones are leaving. But to ensure that, we treat the plant as if it is fully infected when it arrives before any image identified. And that's where this part comes in. And this part seems brutal. I haven't done it to a velvet leaf, but we're about to. So, this is fruit loom. It doesn't burn, usually. It's got neem oil in it. So once I apply this, because of the oil, it's not the oil that burns, it's the lights that burn. We'll take it out of light and put it in the dark and let it dry. And that's it. And then we just wait and let it really kind of just do its thing. They say don't let it drip. I drip it. I soak it. That's how I know it's covered. And it also gets on top of the soil. So brand new soil, if a pest wants to drop down to it, all they're going to find is more of the same. This stuff smells like rubber, maybe. I guess is a good description of it. We're not going to touch them after this though, because they are very gentle leaves. Alright, soak the stems. Make sure it's all there. And then I even soak the top of the bark so nothing can drop down into it. It still wants to lean. It's got this one root. I'm not going to touch the leaves. It's got this one root pushing it over. Bury that root. Not to move it too much. I'm just going to let it grow that way. It'll straighten up in the light when it gets to light. But right now, that is the survivor treatment for a plant. So, disinfect your area, make your potting soil mix, strip the terrible mud that normal people put it in. Not their fault. All plants grow in mud, right? No, they don't. With the velvets, you don't really want to mess with them too much. But if there's like dirt on them, you can use a paintbrush, push your stuff off of them, see a little speck through it, look on them, see if there's anything crazy, because they have this beautiful silvering in the light, which is what I showed in the first video, or in the first part of this video, if I put it all together. And you don't want to get rid of all that, and by pushing it over, they become entangled or pushed down. So you just use a light, very light brush. And we're going to get the dirt off of it. We're going to clean it up. We really do care about these plants, even though this is a very harsh treatment. You want to love these plants. If you're so inclined to do something. So I am. I want to look pretty. I want to grow big and strong. I want to be taken care of. And may the Lord bless this one on its journey through the next 2 weeks. It's going to be a tough one because those roots are not prepared to do root things. They're just lazy and sit there, literally. Now I put that oil in here for root growth, root stimulant, just to give it a little perk because those roots are terrible. I didn't use this on any of the other ones, but those roots were not made for this plant. And I'll pour this whole thing in there and let it fall out of the bottom. It at least lets me know that something is introduced to the soil to promote and stimulate those root hairs. It eases my mind about the whole process, and I'm doing everything I can, even if everything I do is extreme. We're gonna do this, and what you'll notice for a while is that the water will come out yellow or pea colored, and that's because there's still dirt on the roots. But that pea color is good to come out of there because you tricked me. Because that means the dirt's leaving. And here's the deal, okay? I know I'm talking mad on the dirt, but the dirt encases the roots and suffocates them like a pillow over a person's face. That is not what you want for your plants. That is not what I want for my plants. Allow that to all flow out there. Go to the drain, keep the leaves away from the walls. Let that thing go. Clean up on this. And then up on this. There's a little extra 5%. Almost there. Huh? I do not know. Alright, so this plant is leaning a little sideways, but we already did a traumatic event to it. The leaves are already starting to dry, which is good. I don't know, it came with some plasticky looking stuff on it. I don't know that much about this specific variety of Anthurium, which is just lime. But I know I wanted it, and I love it. It's beautiful. But if you get on here, use a Q-tip if you see excessive wetness and dirt clumps, get it off of there. Especially right here, where the stem meets the flower in these circles. Right here, these connectors. Give it its best chance possible to get on this, whatever was on it off. And here's the reason why. In this survival program, hybridization, we treat every plant as if it is infected. Because, let's say it was mealybugs or fish or anything really kind of not great. The person could do what I just did. Could really do what I just did. And completely trick you into thinking it's clean. But the gestation period of those mites and bugs is such that they can be inside the leaf tissue. And you think you have a clean plant, and now all your plants become infected slowly without you knowing about it. Because you introduced your clean new plant, trusting somebody else. Not that I don't trust people, but I trust myself more. I do want to say this. I have gone to and purchased plants from wholesalers ship out to the individual shops, and they have a good dirt mix for most plants. But they use that same mix across the board with every plant. And they're like, well, it's growing, so it's doing good enough. To sell, yes. To thrive, no. And two, so this lady had, if she got it from a wholesaler even, she would have the same soil. From a professional, she'd have the same soil. And so, a lot of people don't stand a chance in knowing that unless they do a lot of research. And the lady was a sweetheart, totally nice, bent over backwards to give me the plant. Produced a $15 7-leaf plant. Jesus, I feel blessed. The Lord blessed me in this. This is one of 3 in my hybridization experiment, and this one is amazing, just amazing. And, she probably knows who she is. Thank you very much. We'll call her Miss Silver BMW, because this is a beautiful plant, and I really hope to. I'm not going to show her unless she sees my videos the process of this, because I told her I'd take really good care of her plant, and right now I just signed it up for death. So I do fully intend to take really good care of this plant. I just have to rebirth it, and this is what it takes. So don't bury your anthurium in dirt, and even if you did, I'd still do this to it. So sorry for you, and lucky for this plant, it's going to grow big and strong. Alright, so it is pretty much done. We added a pebble tray with water, and then we put that onto a lid. This dude is tall, so we got a big old box to put them in. The water that you're seeing here is not fully water, it's that alcohol mix, and it's enough to take your breath away, but it is pretty much evaporated, and that's the whole point. This dude will go into isolation now for 2 weeks.